Massena coming off a big 7-3 victory over Rome last night. St. Francis, a 1-0 loss to Potsdam. Now, I was talking to some people from Rome, and they told me that Rome has never beaten Massena. But then I found out later on that, yes, indeed, they did beat Massena one time back in February of 1956 up at the old Clarkson Arena.
February of 1956?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that true?
Well, I don't know. I probably wasn't. How did you find out about that?
I understand that you were on that team.
Oh, well, I'll have to. Let me see. My memory is getting bad. In fact, I'll tell you how bad it is. A young man I had last night, met him in the lobby, and I couldn't think, he played hockey, Scotty Maxwell. I couldn't think of his first name for a second. That's just old age catching up with me.
Yep.
I'll have to check the records on that, Jerry.
I understand that you were in that game for a while.
Well, we'll talk about that at another time also. We're in for a treat here this afternoon. You mentioned the St. Francis #1 ranked team in the state up in Potsdam, suffering a real tough loss last night. Talking to Coach John Bowers before the game, and he said we played well. Potsdam played well, but we ran into an unbelievably hot goaltender. And I said, you don't have to tell me about it. I've seen that young man perform before. And also the St. Francis Red Raiders are operating under somewhat of a handicap. They've got three players that didn't, three of their top guns that didn't play last night. Number 7, Kevin Hansen, who was the premier defenseman on their club, didn't play last night or today. He's got a disqualification. He got a game misconduct last week, and down in their league, it's a 2-game suspension. And also another big defenseman, I think John Starstruck. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, but we saw him down in Buffalo. He's out with a broken collarbone, and a fine forward, Ryan Shanahan's out with a dislocated shoulder. So they really they're operating under somewhat of a handicap.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at their starting lineup, we mentioned it's going to be Branowski starting in the nets. Chuck Branowski, and I do believe he was the guy that got the nod in the first game of the year against Massena. Up front, it'll be Kevin Golder centering Chris Shamaga and Jesse Buxton, and it's going to be Ron Smith and Chet Wright on defense. For the Massena Red Raiders, of course, we've got Brooke Tebow getting the start tonight in the nets. It'll be Kerwin and Joy at the points, and the set service line, along with, of course, Josh Spanberg and Mike LaPointe to play the wings on that line. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we honor America with the singing of our national anthem by Kesley DeTullio. With the singing of our national anthem, we're about set to go. Another one of our talented anthem singers here at the Massena Arena.
They each performance, they just outstanding. Kesley DeTullio today, and we know what type of voice she has. Just outstanding. The officials, looks like that's Steve Kotzen down there and Billy Foster.
Yes,
Jerry.
Indeed. And, I do want to comment again on the two officials last night, Danny Boyer and Larry Legault, and what a great job they did. They were just absolutely outstanding. We talked about that after the game with the coaching staff, and everybody I talked to just was impressed at what a great job they did in that game last night.
Well, we talked about it last night during the game and at the end of the game, so it certainly was no surprise to us. We felt that You know, a lot of times knowing the rules is one thing. You have to know the rules, but also good officials know when to make calls. You have to have a feel of the game, and there's sometimes that I suppose, according to the rule book, technically you could call a penalty. You could probably call a penalty every other minute, but you have to have a sense of the game, a sense of feeling, and there's some good non-calls, and they certainly made a lot of them last night. They were in charge, and the flow of the game was outstanding.
Golder out there with Buxton and Shamaga for St. Francis, and set service with Spanberg and LaPointe for Massena. Joy and Kerwin at the blue lines for the Raiders, right out there along with Smith for St. Francis. Off the draw, right with the puck in his own end, over to Smith, his partner for St. Francis. They move it out to center ice. Golder with it, knocked away from him. LaPointe gets it back again, flips it in the zone, has it knocked away, dumped out to neutral ice again. Raiders grab it, that's Kerwin, shovels it and throws a check, as Shamaga ended up on his backside as Ryan Kerwin finished his check. Here's LaPointe in the corner. Has it poke checked away, goes after it behind the net. Time to center it, bounces off the side of the net, back to Joy at the point, to Kerwin. Kerwin shot, deflected in front, the save, another save, and the puck comes back to the blue line and bounces over Kerwin's stick out to center ice. So Bronowski, a couple of saves right off the bat here. Here come the Raiders. Spanberg just flips it ahead. Fatty after it. Fatty has it stolen. Here's service, he's tripped up. Bouncing puck gets a shot, but it's wide, and the puck is cleared all the way out to center ice. Picked up by Dion, who's out with Rochefort. Headman pass, comes to the blue line. Spanberg's still out there. Massena in the middle of a line change. Here comes Alvarez. Cross the blue line, keeps it in. Lacaprouche, centering pass is cleared into the corner by Dion nicely. Now the puck along the boards. Spanberg with a piece of it. He has it knocked away by Alvarez. His shot, and it goes in the net. Brooke Tebow made the save, and it crawled right underneath him and went in the net, and St. Francis scores first early in the hockey game.
And we'll go to number 17, Chris Alvarez, who picked up a loose puck at the top of the circle, probably about a 38-footer along the ice, and Brooke Tebow looked like he had it labeled. Did make the initial stop, but it's kind of trickled in behind that left leg, and I think it hit. Just probably escaped because it redirected to the far corner, and St. Francis up 1-0.
Here comes Corey David off the faceoff, flips it in the zone. David in behind the net, still has the puck, looking for Converse, goes back to the point. Dion cranks it up, the shot, fired it wide, rebound. David hit the side of the net. He had a wide open net to shoot at. Goes back to the blue line. Rochefort shot deflected right on. Bouncing puck controlled by St. Francis, and they move it out to center ice to Golder. He backhands it in the Massena zone. In the corner, Mike Dion after it, flips it along the boards. Back in the corner, St. Francis trying to control. Golder trying to chase it down, but it comes to P.J. Rochefort from Massena. Rochefort moves it along the boards out to center ice. Lacaprouche misses it. The bouncing puck at the red line, picked up by Golder. Golder checked off the puck. Rayholm trying to follow. Digging for it there is, let's see, who do we have here? That's Converse flipping it into the zone. I think that was Service before, and the puck comes in behind the net. Controlled by St. Francis. They try to move it out. It's Grisbaum, and he dumps it down the ice. That'll be an icing call against St. Francis, and it'll move the faceoff back in their zone. And as has been the case in a lot of recent games, the opposition scores first.
Well, the St. Francis really 117. Alvarez from Chris Fatty, about a 38-footer, looked like a harmless-looking shot, but Brooke Tebow wasn't able to corral that low shot from about 38 feet right out in front, along the ice, and St. Francis up 1-0.
O'Shea out there with his line mate Service and Courier face off in the zone. Back to the blue line. Schneider whacks at it, goes into the corner. Knocked down by O'Shea. Service back to the point. Now it's DeRosie flipping it in behind the net. Racing in after it there is Chet Wright. Moves along the boards. Caking down in front. Here's O'Shea, centering pass. And it goes back to the blue line, picked up by St. Francis. They move it to the Massena line, intercepted right back on the Raiders. Here comes Timmy O'Shea. Steps by the check. Takes it in the corner, bings it in front, and Service gets a slight whack at it. Can't pick it up, though. The puck goes into the corner. Picked up by Service. To the blue line. DeRosie, his shot, he fanned on it, and St. Francis will break out as DeRosie broke his stick. Here comes Fatty. It's a 2-on-1. Drop pass to Buxton. Centering pass in front, clear to the blue line. Here's a shot from the point by Smith, is blocked by O'Shea. O'Shea trying to flip it ahead. Smith steps in front. O'Shea moves it to the blue line, and it's backhanded out of the zone by Scott Service. Comes back into the St. Francis zone. Picked up there by Lacaprouche. He flips it ahead for Golder. Golder takes it in the zone. Drop pass goes all the way back to the blue line. Mike LaPointe Flips it out to neutral ice. Lacaprouche dumps it, hit his own guy with it. Puck still at neutral ice. Here comes Alvarez across the blue line, looking to get the shot off. He couldn't do it. Puck goes in the corner. Picked up Frank Joy along the boards to Mike Lapointe. Lapointe looking for the long head man. Lacaprouche intercepts. Didn't quite get enough on that. Puck dumped back in the Massena zone. Joy is there. 1-0 in favor of St. Francis early in the hockey game. Lapointe. Lapointe bangs it ahead. Here comes Service down the off wing. Set Service. He gets by the defenseman. The puck swept away. He goes after it in the corner. Here's Service looking to go back to the point. Joy on the fly. The shot. Good save made by Chuck Bronowski.
Both teams playing their second game in less than 20 hours, Jerry, but I think this is going to affect St. Francis more than it will the Raiders. You look down on the national anthem, it looked like St. Francis really had a skeleton crew with 2 goaltenders. They only had 14 kids, so that's 12 skaters. They're going to skate 3 lines, but Golder and Fatty, the 2 centers, will do double duty. But I think this will really tell on St. Francis in the latter stages of this game.
Fatty will face off against Jason Converse off the draw. Puck bouncing in the circle. Converse gets a shot on and the save is made by Bronowski. He holds on for the faceoff.
Coach Bauer was mentioning before the game how the lack of manpower has affected the style of hockey. He likes to consider them as a run-and-gun team. They really like to put pressure on you, really. But they have to change their style because of the lack of bodies that they have here today.
Face-off right side, off the draw, puck in the circle. Here's a chance in front, and David couldn't get the shot off. Goes back to the blue line. Here's Dion cranking it up right on. Save made, and the puck squirts free. It's picked up there by Strickler, and he dumps it to center ice. Right back in the zone it goes. Smith after it on the defense for St. Francis. Smith in behind. Pribble is bothering him. The puck squirts free along the boards in the circle. Picked up there and out to center ice. Comes to Mike Dion. Dumps to an open wing. Pribble. He just swipes it back in the St. Francis zone and gets checked. Puck in behind the net. After it, Corey David. David to O'Shea. O'Shea gets hauled down behind the net, and Smith picks up the puck. Here's Smith, headman out to center ice. Chris Fatty with it. Fatty from the blue line. That shot goes wide, all the way around the boards to Corey David. David flips it ahead. O'Shea lost it, but David comes up with it. Back to O'Shea. Here's Timmy O'Shea from the red line, dumps it in the zone. Puck comes in behind the net. Picked up by Grisbaum, the defenseman. He's got Courier on him. Slides it along the boards. Stepping in front of Service to O'Shea. O'Shea wide. He shot. Score! Timmy O'Shea, and Massena ties it up at 1.
I think that hit somebody in front, Jerry. It might have hit Jamie Courier or the St. Francis defenseman, but it did change directions. Timmy O'Shea picking up an errant clearing pass at along the right boards about the top of the circle. He cut in maybe 10 feet. He cranked one up from about 40 feet, a low bullet along the ice, and it definitely hit something in front and went by Bronowski on the glove side. We'll see who gets the goal.
So the Raiders tied up on the Bob Post State Farm Insurance scoreboard. David must have hit it in front.
It hit somebody in front.
So Corey David had 2 last night. He's got another one here in the zone as Massena was in the middle of a line change, but I'll tell you what, it worked for him. 1-1 tie hockey game. Out of the zone, Grisbaum to the Massena line, flips in the corner, controlled by DeRosie, right back out to neutral ice. Swept ahead by O'Shea. He comes after it himself and dumps it in the zone. He wants off. Whoa, puck as Massena gets the 4th line out there, goes in the St. Francis zone. Out to neutral ice. Here's Golder with it. Golder into the Massena zone on Chad Schneider. He tries to go wide, centers it right across the goal mouth. He gets it back again on the other side. Dumps it in the corner for Shamaga. Shamaga has it intercepted. Here come the Raiders. Intercepted pass by Golder on Schneider's pass. Here's Golder centering it. Knocked down. Comes free to McLean. He bounces it out to neutral ice. He's going to chase it down. Here's McLean. Poke checked away at the last second. Following up as Schneider has it knocked away. Here's a chance for Shamaga breaking in with Golder. And a good sliding check by Ryan Kerwin breaks up the play, and the Raiders move it out. Headman pass. Picked up by Walsh to McLean. McLean across the blue line, fires it in behind the net. Bouncing pass in the corner. Weiskopf. Weiskopf poked away. Keeping it in is Walsh. Now the puck picked up by the defenseman, Ron Smith. Moves it to the blue line and out to center ice. Down the ice it goes. Here comes the 2-on-1 for St. Francis. They get the man in front. Nice sweep check by Brooke Tebow to break it up. Gets a big hand from the crowd, and he deserves it. Good play. Here comes Massena. McLean. Off the backboard it goes, and deep in St. Francis territory. Couple of good chances for St. Francis as Massena gave up a couple of odd man rush. And what you got was the defenseman going ahead and lunging for the puck and missing it. Here's Frank Joy. Headman pass to Spanberg. Josh chasing it down. He breaks in front. Shot. Fired it behind the net. Bouncing puck along the boards, cleared out to neutral ice. Joy is going to corral it right at the Massena blue line. Joy with it. Bangs it ahead for Spanberg. Josh picks it up. Headman right on the stick of Lapointe. He gets him free backhander. Score! Mike Lapointe on a beautiful feed from Josh Spanberg, and the Raiders go up 2-1 on the Bob Post scoreboard.
Just a great pass and great movement without the puck. Josh Bamberg on the right side. Mike Lapointe cut from his left wing into the middle. Took a pass right on his stick, a bullet pass from Josh Bamberg. Had that half step on the defenseman. Went in on the off wing just like he did last night. And he let go a low backhander that beat Bronowski to the stick side. Just a beautiful goal.
Face off at neutral ice after the goal. Controlled by St. Francis. Lacaprouche flips to neutral ice, comes to the Massena line. Picked up there by P.J. Rochford. Rochford bangs it ahead to neutral ice, goes back to the St. Francis blue line. Bouncing puck. There's going to be a penalty. And there's going to be a St. Francis penalty for interference on Rayome, and the Raiders go on the power play.
Just prior to that second goal of the Raiders, when St. Francis had a couple opportunities to break the 1-1 tie, just some great defensive work by Captain Ryan Kerwin on that particularly that 2-on-1 situation where he slid across when St. Francis came down. He slid across and intercepted the pass with his body. Just a super defensive play.
Next time, Brooke Thibault came out of the net and made a good play.
Yeah, well, again, Kerwin was involved in that. He had forced the St. Francis puck carrier on the right side deeper than he wanted to go. And actually, if he was able to make the pass out deeper in the slot area, it would have been trouble. But he forced him to make it where Thibault could intercept it.
Off the face-off, Massena on the power play. Raiders control P.J. Rochford. Josh Spanberg picks up the puck. Shamaga out there with Golder. Headman pass to Service. Service busts in the zone. Here comes Service in the corner. Picks up a crowd. Drops it back to the blue line. P.J. goes to Spanberg. Bounces free. Comes right back to Spanberg. Shot blocked. Bouncing puck picked up by Shamaga. Shamaga falls on top of it. And there'll be a face-off.
When these two clubs played down in Buffalo, the special teams...
Oh, boy. Shamaga just took a shot at Josh Spanberg, hit him in the helmet with his stick. How can they not call a penalty on that?
Well, I don't know. But the special teams, when these clubs played the first time, Massena was 0 for 7 on the power play, and I don't think you'll see that today. I think that Massena's power play has really been operating with high octane, 17 goals on 60 power play opportunities for a 28.3 power play percentage, which is outstanding.
And they were, 2 for 3 last night? Or
2 for 2.
2 for 2. Oh, that's right, yes. Off the face-off, Massena controls out by the blue line. We have a whistle. And what happened?
We got
a pass, okay.
Second on that goal, his 15th of the year at the 7:23 mark. Mike Lapointe, Josh Spanberg, and Frank Joy picking up the assists.
Face-off moves outside the zone. Golder will face off against Converse. Off the draw. The puck dumped. Neutral ice. Frank Joy is there to move it back in the zone. Here's Joy across the blue line. Stops back out by the blue line. Flips in the corner. Intercepted. And Lacaprouche is going to wave at it and dump it out to center ice. Dump to the Massena line, and Joy will corral it down with about 35 seconds left in the power play. We've got Jason Converse out there with David and Pribble as Joy lugs the puck and then flips it ahead for Ryan Kerwin. Kerwin feeding it to Converse. Converse dumps it in the corner. Lacaprouche in after it, picks it up. Big defenseman. He rips it around the boards. Joy will keep it in at the point. Now it's swept away, and down the ice it goes. Thibault picks it up, goes to Kerwin with it. We're down 8 seconds. Looks like the Raiders might come up a little short on this power play. And that'll take care of it right there. Headman pass, down the ice. Joy flips it in the zone, knocked back away. Now there's a foot race for it. Kerwin gets there first and flips it ahead for Pribble. Pribble drops it for David. Lacaprouche gets there first. Trying to clear the zone, bounces off a body. Now Smith after it as Massena makes a line change. Out to center ice. Timmy O'Shea's line coming out. O'Shea comes up with a puck. I'll tell you what, he's been around the puck all last night and now here today too. Here's Buxton. Buxton winds. His shot scores! That was a long shot.
That was a long shot, but that was a tough. I don't think an NHL goaltender would have stopped that one. Just a great shot by Buxton, Jesse Buxton, from the top of the right circle, and Brooke Tebow, he might have, if he had his druthers come out a little bit further to cut the angle, but he didn't have much time. Buxton jumped on that loose puck and just went to his right, and he scorched a wicked low backhand, just caught inside the far post on the stick side. Great shot.
That'll tie things up at 2 on the Bob Post State Farm Insurance scoreboard. Here's Dion. Headman, down the ice it goes. Somebody touched it, no icing. Puck in behind the net, picked up by St. Francis around the boards. Pinching in the corner, Service got a piece of it. That's Scotty. Scotty digging for it along with O'Shea. It pokes free to right for St. Francis, and he skates out from the side of his net. Here comes Wright. Across the red line, dumps in the Massena zone. In behind the net, puck goes all the way around the boards. Fatty after it there. Knocked away from him. Poke free comes to Courier. Courier moving ahead for Service. He lost it in his skate. Dumped back in the Massena zone. Tebow is going to leave it for P.J. Rochford. Rochford. Headman, Service, feeding it ahead to Courier, a little bit too far, knocked away from him. It comes to O'Shea, dumps in the zone. Picked up there on the defense by Ron Smith. Massena making a line change. Here comes St. Francis, and Alvarez tipped it in the zone, but couldn't come up with it. Now, it is picked up in behind the net by Fatty, and there's going to be a penalty on St. Francis as Fatty hooked the Massena player, and the Raiders will go back on the power play.
No question, and a bad call, especially in the offensive end when you take a penalty like that, and it's either Chris Fatty, number 27 or 17. I know there was a 7 involved. Either Alvarez or Fatty. Well, wait, I think it is Fatty.
Yep.
A hooking call. He just lifted the Raider player right up off the ice. No question, right in front of the officials, and the Raiders are going to go on a power play.
No, they're not. Courier picked one up too.
Oh, I didn't see that. Must have been after the fact.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that's not a good penalty on either case then. If Jamie got his after the fact, certainly the St. Francis penalty wasn't a good one. But it balances out. 4:19 left in the period. A 2-2 tie. That last goal at 9:38. Jesse Buxton. They give Ronnie Smith an assist on it, but just a great shot by Buxton.
Off the face-off. Frankie Joy with it in behind his own net over to Ryan Kerwin. Kerwin starts it out. Here's Kerwin. Flipping ahead for Spanberg, and Spanberg just dumps it in the zone. Goes to the side of the net, picked up on the defense by Lacaprouche. He's being bothered by Seth Service. The puck squirts free. St. Francis controls, starts to move it out, and dumps it. They got a guy breaking in Golder. Frank Joy is back. Golder gets away, gets a backhander, and Brooke Tebow makes the save. Here comes Joy looking up ice. Headman. Meant for Spanberg. Here comes Josh with a puck. Takes it across. Fakes the shot, goes in the corner, has it knocked away, gets it back again. In behind the net, Lacaprouche poke checks it away to Wright. Here's Wright, moving out to center ice. Long headman pass to the Massena line. Joy is there to collar it. Goes to Kerwin. Kerwin steps ahead. Headman intercepted at the blue line. It pokes free, but Kerwin is there. Kerwin. Headman pass intercepted again. Kerwin has to come back for it. And it's Lacaprouche, or Shamaga rather. Dumps along the blue line. Dumped in the zone by defenseman Grisbaum, and around the boards it goes. Kerwin in behind the net for Joy. Joy comes out along the left side, then drops it back for Kerwin. Kerwin wraps it around the boards, kept in at the point. Here's Smith flipping it in the corner. Bouncing puck comes around the boards again. Free, it's picked up there by St. Francis. They move it in front, and now the penalties have elapsed. Puck still in the Massena zone. Raiders with a problem here. Kerwin. And now I think they want a whistle.
Want a whistle and need a whistle, and I think Brooke Tebow got him one. I'm not sure if number 27, Lacapouche, ran into Tebow, but Brooke stumbled backwards and got that net off its moorings, and I think he realized the Raiders did need a timeout. They were running around in their own end and just dodged the bullet when number 3, Ron Smith, jumped down from the right point. All the Raiders were focused on the left side, and the puck came across the crease and another stride, and Smith's got it on his stick and got an wide open path to the net.
Fatty out there now with Strickler and Rayom, and it's going to be, let me see here, LaPointe centering David and Pribble. That's something new. I'm not sure what happened to Converse. But anyway, Massena controls at the red line. Here's Dion flipping the puck in the corner. In behind the net as it rounds the boards. Check thrown by LaPointe. David in there battling for it. Corey David has the puck behind the net. And the puck swept around Strickler with it to the blue line. kept in by Dion. He winds it, flips it, bounces in front in the slot. Nobody could get a stick on it. And Fatty tries to clear. LaPointe intercepts. LaPointe knocked away from him. It comes free to Corey David. David in front. Backhander knocked away. Goes into the corner. After it there, Pribble feeds to LaPointe. Back to the blue line and couldn't keep it in. Now dumping to an open wing. And we have an offsides on Massena.
That's just the effect of finishing your check out there. Pribble, LaPointe, and David, all three solid youngsters. They went out there in that shift and finished their checks and were throwing the body around in that offensive end and really paid dividends. And I think that's what you have to do, especially against a club that's short-staffed. You know, they've only got 8 skating forwards, and you got to wear them down. And Massena's got the size to do that. So I'm sure on the bench, the coaching staff told them, "Come on, let's finish those checks out there." And St. Francis, they're not taking a backward step. They're throwing their body around, but they've only got 12 skaters.
Service wins the draw to LaPointe. LaPointe back to Service. Poke checked away. Alvarez out to center ice. Spanberg gets a piece of it. Deflects it to Joy. Here comes Frank with it. Off the boards. In the zone it goes, in behind the net. Smith after it there. Rounds the boards with it. Alvarez, and is kept in at the point by Kerwin. He shoots it. Deflected off a skate in the corner by Wright. Wright is going to try the other side. Goes to Spanberg. Spanberg looks up, centers it, and it goes bouncing back to the blue line and out to center ice. Kerwin flipping it ahead. Service trying to move it to LaPointe. Poked away from him. Comes to the Massena line. Here's Joy. Spanberg poked away. Comes to LaPointe. LaPointe takes it across to Service. Service steps by 1, by 2, has it knocked away and poke checked out to center ice. Comes to Joy, poked away from him. Fatty in the zone. Fatty, poke checked by Frank Joy. Out by the blue line. Service looks to move it out, but it's dumped into the corner, and P.J. Rochford comes up with it. Here's Rochford, and we have a whistle. Going to have a cross check behind the net by Frank Joy.
Yeah, I saw the St. Francis player Golder lying on his side, but I looked down to the official on the near side, closest to the play. No call was made. I saw Frank Joy standing there, and I kind of had a suspicious mind that youngster just didn't get down there by himself. So Frankie Joy is going to be called for cross-checking. He took, or interference, however you want to call it, the official wants to call it, to the left of Tebow, and the play was on the other side.
Power play for St. Francis with 48 seconds left in the period. A 2-2 tie hockey game. Off the draw, the puck comes back to Smith at the point. His pass in the circle. Look, Caprooche, and he can't come up with it. In behind the net. After it is Corey David. David, oh, nice. Down off the glass and down the ice. Good play by Corey David. Buxton back in after it. Swept into the corner. Les Pribble for Massena comes up with it. Wastes a little time. Flips it. Back in the zone. Back out again. Pribble takes a whack at it. It bounces free. Here's Shamaga. To Buxton. Buxton dumps it in behind the net for St. Francis in the Massena zone. Picked up behind. St. Francis, they try to center. Goes back to the blue line. La Caprooche into the circle. We're down to 8 seconds left. Corey David moves it out to center ice to Pribble. 4. Here's Shamaga. Steps across the blue line. 1 second left. The buzzer sounds. And the period ends at a tie. A 2-2 tie hockey game. And 42 seconds will remain in the power play for St. Francis when we go to the second period.
And you mentioned as Shamaga stepped across the blue line, he stepped across the blue line and he was met by number 18, P.J. Rochford, with a resounding check just at the buzzer. And Shamaga took a few seconds before he got back to his feet, and he kind of limped a little bit to the locker room. And certainly the St. Francis Red Raiders can't afford to lose anybody else.
So after one period of play here, it's St. Francis 2, Massena 2. Our broadcast brought to you by Reynolds Metals, St. Lawrence Reduction Plant, by Nationwide Insurance at 229 East Orvis Street in Massena. Also by Paris Environmental Control Corporation on the Winthrop Road in Massena, by the North Country Savings Bank, 22 Phillips Street, Massena. Also by Tiffany's Restaurant at 46 Main Street, downtown Massena. By Massena Optics, 55 Main Street, downtown Massena. By Massena Building Supply, 70 Water Street, Massena. Coca-Cola Bottling, out of Restorva Street in Massena. By the members of the Seacom Federal Credit Union, 30 Stern Street, Massena. Also by the Village Engraver at 80 Parker Avenue in Massena, and Homestead Dairy, West Hatfield, and the corner of North Main and Maple in Massena. So a 2-2 tie hockey game after one, and was an interesting first period. Didn't seem to be as much intensity as last night, Dave.
Well, I think maybe the crowd is somewhat to that. It's a little smaller crowd, and the crowd always adds to the intensity of the game. You know, the oohs and the ahs and the yells and the screams, that gets the players fired up. But very fast-paced hockey first period. I thought that St. Francis took better advantage of their scoring opportunity. They only had 4 shots on goal, and they scored 2 goals. The Raiders had more scoring opportunities, but sometimes Branowski made the save. Other times they fired wide. Corey David early on had a wide open net. The puck came off the dasher behind Branowski right out to Corey David, and he had half the net, and he fired it wide. But the St. Francis Red Raiders on the board first early, 117. A long shot. Chris Alvarez kind of got the pass from Chris Fatty on the left side near the top of the circle, skated out in the middle, and just fired a low shot that Brooke Thibault had labeled and looked like he was going to make the save, but somehow it got through Thibault, got by the pads when he went down, kind of hit the skate in the back, I think, because it redirected at about a 45 degree and into the, you could see it into the post on the short side, but the Raiders came back at 5-12. Timmy O'Shea, they are giving Timmy O'Shea. They initially called. They changed that goal. Did they change that, Joey, back to Timmy O'Shea? We
changed it.
Oh, no, I think that hit somebody in front, no question. That go. Okay, well, we'll pick it up later. They've unofficially they've given it to Timmy O'Shea, but it did hit somebody in front. Schneider and Timmy Courier picking up the assist. O'Shea got the puck along the right board.
Hold it. Not Timmy Courier. He's a basketball man.
Well, I'm just reading what's on here now.
Now the commish doesn't play hockey.
Okay.
That's just like, remember when we were talking about Timmy Long was talking about Mike DeRosie.
Okay.
I said, I don't know. I don't think I could see Mike out there on the ice too much. But anyway, that was Tim Courier picking up the assist. But I agree with you, Dave. This check. Michael, he likes to do that. He's a hard-nosed player. And something I'm going to mention when we have a break here. Across the blue line is Golder. He makes the fake, goes in behind the net. It's poked away, bounces to the blue line, but not out of the zone. Bounces right on Thibault, makes a big save. Puck cleared into the corner. Back in front, it's deflected. Massena gets a man back. Joy comes up with it and whacks it back down into the St. Francis zone. Josh Spanberg, we're not probably going to see him killing any penalties here this afternoon. He got that bruise yesterday, and so he may see limited duty. That's something you might want to keep in mind, those of you listening in. Spanberg's out there now, though. Pokes it out to neutral ice. Well, didn't quite make it out to neutral ice. Back in the corner, Massena zone. Dion will rip it around the boards for LaPointe, but doesn't get to him. It goes to the defenseman who flips it in the corner. Still in the Massena zone. Dion. Service, it bounces free, in front, the shot, deflected in front, the puck's still sitting there, poke check back to the blue line, and Massena moves it out. Here's Spanberg, goes by one, takes it in the corner, he's got LaPointe, looks for him, trying to flip it in front to him, it's knocked down by the defense, and we're going to have a hand pass, or carrying the puck, I guess, on St. Francis and move the face-off back in their zone.
Yeah, he gained about 6 yards on that carry, so they're going to bring it back. Raiders just dodged the bullet down there at the other end. Brooke Thibault down and out of the play, and the puck lane free, and they're just able to knock it out of there. But just a great play by number 5 prior to that, Mike Dion, on a centering pass that he cleared, or St. Francis guy was all.
Here's Corey David, right in front, bangs at it. Puck sits there, and it's covered up by Branowski. Now we got some pushing and shoving. And
crowd gets a roar into that. Grisbaum just fell down on his own. The phantom check there at the end. Maybe that's resounding shockwaves.
They're going to be penalties, probably matching penalties. Les Pribble for Massena is going to get a minute and a half in the sin bin, and I think it's going to be Chet Wright.
Finish that point about Mike Dion, who is unsung hero on this defensive core on many occasions, but he leads the team in plus minus. He's a plus 22, outstanding, and he just made a great defensive play. As I mentioned, Goldard walked out of the corner and had his teammate out in front all alone, and Mike Dion laid the stick on the ice and intercepted the clearing pass.
Fatty against Courier, off the draw, 4-on-4. Frankie Joy pinches in, has it knocked away. Comes to Corey David, and it's knocked away from him. Alvarez flips it to the Massena line. Sweep check there by the Raiders, picked up by Courier. Courier turns it back the other way. Here's Courier, trying to move it ahead into the zone, dumped away, out to neutral ice. Here's Fatty with it. David knocks him down. Joy picks up the loose puck, goes to Courier. Here's Courier. His headman pass knocked away. Comes to Kerwin. Kerwin on the stick of Courier. Winds up, his shot poked away before he could really get it off. And it comes to Golder, who feeds Alvarez, who takes it across. In the zone, trying to go wide. Joy just takes him out of the play. The puck comes to Courier in behind the net. Goes to Kerwin. Here's Kerwin. Ahead to David. David, he's looking. He moves it out to center ice. Here comes Corey David across the blue line in on the right side. David in behind the net. Takes a check, stays on his feet, knocks it down, sweeps it back to the blue line. P.J. Rochford, quick wrist shot, deflects off a body in the corner. Corey David is there, flipping it in front. Goes by everybody. Spanberg after it in the corner. Spanberg trying to pass it to himself, knocked away. And it's going to be St. Francis moving it out to center ice. Lacaprouche. Lacaprouche makes the move to Golder. Golder shot. Fired it high and wide. Puck side of the net. Poked into the corner. After it is Golder again. Back to Rayom at the blue line. His shot is gloved. And Tebow is going to hold on for the faceoff.
Golder and Rayom combining for a couple of near misses there. Rayom a little upset because he had the puck on the short side, a wide open net, and he put it up over the top. And just prior to that, Captain Frankie Joy textbook, how to play that man and finish your check. Alvarez came down, and Joy just played him, took him right to the corner and finished his check. Super job.
Off the face-off, puck comes to Grisbaum in the corner, flips it in behind the net. Penalties have elapsed. Here's Service with it. Service, moving it. Headman to Dion. Dion breaks out, flips to Pribble. Here's Pribble, dumps it right on, and the save is made by Branowski. Now St. Francis tries to clear, and Lapointe keeps it in for a moment, gets it back again. Here's Lapointe in front. Shot, score! Mike Lapointe, the quick wrist shot. Here come the tennis balls. And the Raiders take a 3-2 lead.
I don't know where that little tradition has come back. That one just hit the goaltender, hit the St. Francis goaltender. I know they're only tennis balls, but that certainly is not the proper sportsmanship that the fans want to display. And it seems to be coming from that section down to our left, to the right of Branowski. And after Mike Lapointe's goal, that just takes something away from the goal. It was just a super shot by Mike Lapointe from about 35 feet out. He wristed a low bullet that beat Branowski on the stick side to put the Raiders up 3-2. And this is one of these days, if not today, it's going to cost the Raiders on a unsportsmanlike or delay a game penalty.
Right. And Lapointe, before he scored the goal, made a great play to keep the puck in the zone and a good second effort. And I'll tell you what, Mike Lapointe had a couple of goals, or a goal last night, and he had a couple last night, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And he's playing very good hockey, considering the fact that he sprained his ankle last week. You would never know it.
And when he uses that wrist shot, he's very effective. Sometimes he likes to take that cannonading slap shot, but he can't control it as well as he can control that wrist shot. And that was just a bullet from about 35 feet out that Branowski couldn't handle.
He and Buxton now are chatting with each other, Mike and Jesse Buxton. And now we're ready to go here. Set Service, wins the draw, takes it across, winds up his shot, fired it wide. Puck around the boards, bounces to the blue line. Dion tries to keep it in, poked by him, comes to the Massena line. PJ's there, feeds it ahead by everybody, goes back to the St. Francis line. Collared by their defense, it's Ronnie Smith. Nice headman pass to Buxton, poked away from him. Now following on the other side is Chet Wright, dumps it in the Massena zone. PJ is there, goes around the boards to Mike Lapointe. Lapointe flips it ahead for Service. Service out to center ice. Oh, boy. Golder tried to check him. Now Buxton checks him, and the puck goes in the zone. Buxton moves it out. Service whacks at it. Right back in the corner it goes. St. Francis zone. Here's Wright with it. Trying to flip it ahead. Comes to the blue line. Dion keeps it and winds up. Oh, Spanberg looking for the deflection. Comes to Rochford. Cranks it. Fires it way wide. And the puck bounces around the boards to Shamaga. Here's Shamaga's headman. And it's knocked down by Timmy O'Shea, but the goaltender clears it out by the blue line. Lapointe whacks at it, bounces off a body in front. Buxton comes back for it and flips it down the ice, and that'll be an icing call. No, they wave it off. It hits somebody on the way by, and it's picked up by Frank Joy. 3-2, Massena leads. A1 TV and Appliance scoreboard. Deflected by Lapointe now, and down the ice it goes, and in fact right in on Branowski. He has to stop it. Here comes St. Francis. Fatty takes it across the blue line, winds up, shot, save made by Tebow. Tebow in behind with a big goalie stick, trying to clear it along the boards. A puck comes to the defenseman. Now he skates it in behind for St. Francis. They try to center it, and it's back to the blue line. Grisbaum shot, knocked down in front. Bounces into the corner. Here's Fatty. That's the other Fatty. He's got some room. Moves it in front. Shot. Brook makes the save and holds on for the face-off.
Chris Patty found himself walking out of the corners. The Raider defenseman, I think Massena's going to pick up an interference call, Frankie Joy. But both Massena defensemen had a man tied up in front, and that allowed Fatty to walk out of the corner, and he didn't have much room, and Brook Tebow stayed on the short side, and Fatty had to put it right into him. But that goal by Mike Lapointe at the 3:29 mark, it was his 16th of the year. Josh Bamberg picking up the assist. Just prior to, after that, some great hitting out there by Golder and Buxton, who both used Seth's service as a rubber ball. First, Golden bounced him off the boards. Then Seth got up, and Buxton put him back down.
Okay, power play. Oh, I misspoke. Spanberg's out there. Off the face-off, puck out by the blue line. St. Francis controls. The defenseman skates it, and his shot is blocked by P.J. Rochford and goes up into the net.
Oh, Mike Lapointe learned something there. Fall for the old sleeping dog trick or whatever. He came out to check the defenseman on the left side. That's Smith, I believe, and Smith faked the shot. Mike Lapointe went out and stood up straight, and Smith walked right around him. Ooh, got to make sure he shoots that puck.
Off the face-off, puck comes back to the blue line. Lacaprouche keeps it in, shoots it, scores! And I don't know what happened to that one. It went right by Brook Tebow on the net, and it's 3-3.
55-footer, not a lot on it, but that's the old saying. You can't just you got to get the body behind the glove. And that time, Brook didn't have he tried to glove it, and he didn't have the body behind it, and he just misplayed it. And when you misplayed it with the body behind the glove, you know, you still have a fail-safe there. But he just stuck the glove out there, 55-footer by Lacapouche, I believe, was it? And
yep.
The Red Raiders have tied up the Red Raiders.
So we're all tied up at 3-3. That's a power play goal for St. Francis.
Off the draw, it came back to the left defenseman. He slid it across to Lacapouche, I think, on the right side, and he just wristed one from about 54 or 5 feet and just beat Brook Tebow on the glove side.
So it's a 3-3 tie off the faceoff. The puck goes into the St. Francis zone. They bounce it out to neutral ice. Here come the Red Raiders of St. Francis. Golder across the blue line. Gets a shot off. Tebow kicks it up into the wall.
And that goal will come from Lacapouche, and number 10 is going to pick up the assist. Golder, I thought there'd be another one on it too, but evidently not. Anyway, St. Francis has tied it up, and that's 9:15 left in the second period. 3-3.
3-3 tie on the A1 TV and appliance scoreboard. Golder will face it off, and it will be Jason Converse. He broke his stick. He goes and gets one. Now he's back out to face off in the Massena zone to the left of goaltender Brook Tebow. And now they toss Converse, and Pribble will come in to face off. Off the draw, back to the blue line. Lacaprouche, he winds it up. I think he hit his own guy with it. Puck in the corner. Bouncing after it is Converse. He's got it behind the net. Goes to P.J. Rochford. Rochford looking for Pribble, and Pribble deflects it out to center ice. Here comes Pribble back after it, but Grisbaum gets there first. David in on him. Oh, David just nails him in behind the net and then takes a shot. The puck comes free. There's going to be a penalty, and it's got to be a penalty on St. Francis because Corey David, a perfectly legal check, and the St. Francis guy came afterwards and just elbowed him.
I'll tell you, there's some good solid checks in there. Jason Converse handed one out. Corey David handed one out. And Les Pribble handed one out. And Lacapouche is the one. He handed one out also, but his was a little flagrant. He's going to pick up a minor for either elbowing or charging. We'll wait and see. But the Raiders going to go in a power play. It's going to be an elbowing call.
All started with Corey David finishing his check, and he finished it all right. And then Lacaprouche took exception to the check and came in with the elbow up, and that's why he got the call.
I'm sure if we went down there and looked closely, we could see the imprint of a 25 just to the left of that Northwestern Mutual Life sign.
Face off left side. Massena on the power play. Off the draw, comes back. P.J. Rochford flips it to the open corner. Looks like they're going to clear. No, Rochford waved at it. Looked like he was going to keep it in and didn't. Now it trickles back in the Massena zone. Mike Dion back for P.J. P.J. drops it in behind the net. Comes to Dion around the boards all the way up to Seth Service. And we have a whistle.
Hitting from
There's
behind.
Going to be a penalty to St. Francis for hitting from behind.
Yeah, that was a borderline call, and Coach Johnny Bauer is upset with that one, and I might be too. Number 12, Chet Wright, went over, and I think it was Seth Service right in front of the St. Francis bench, and he just kind of ran him off the play. But referee Steve Kotzen felt that was a hit from behind, and I suppose it was. It didn't give much latitude for interpretation on that one, I guess. But
so that'll give Massena a two-man advantage for the next minute and 10. Off the face-off, P.J. Rochford with the puck. Massena looking to set up their power play. They've got the service line out there. Here comes Spanberg. Spanberg takes it down the wing, right down the middle. Here's Spanberg, right by the D, shot. Save made, and the puck goes over the net. And they gave ground to Spanberg, and he kept right in and got the shot off.
Well, I tell you, he's a defenseman's nightmare. If he comes roaring down on you, he's so big and so strong and so fast, those long arms. Especially you're down 2 men, you've got to give some ground.
Face off inside, St. Francis territory, comes back to P.J. Rochford. Rochford to Dion, his shot blocked, comes right back to Rochford. He cranks it up, save made, rebound in front, clear to the blue line. Bounces to P.J. P.J. swipes it over to Dion, knocked away. Dion stays with it. Shoots it, right on, save made. LaPointe bounces it in behind for service to Spanberg. 33 seconds left in the power play. Back on the other side. It goes around the boards, Dion. P.J. back to Dion. Dion winds, a shot, and a save made. Good save made by Branowski. Comes to LaPointe. Back to Dion. Dion goes to Spanberg. Spanberg trying to flip it in the corner, knocked away by Fatty. Spanberg gets it back again. Centering pass in front, Dion shot knocked down. Down to 10 seconds left in the two-man advantage. Dion, cross-ice pass to PJ. PJ flips it in front. Oh, it goes just wide. LaPointe got tied up, couldn't get the stick on it. Here's LaPointe, shot in front, and the save made. Rebound, bounces free, and they got a man. And the whistle blows as La Caprouche came out of the penalty box and went immediately for the offensive zone. So they killed one off, and Massena had some chances but couldn't beat Branowski.
Moved the puck around really well, did have some good opportunities, but a good penalty killing job by that trio of St. Francis, led by number 3, Ronnie Smith. As you mentioned, he had Mike LaPointe tied up in front, or it was Mike LaPointe and Branowski one-on-one. Good job by St. Francis.
14 seconds left in the second penalty to St. Francis. Face off top of the circle, tied at 3 on the A1 TV and Appliance scoreboard. Off the draw, puck in the corner, picked up by La Caprouche, and he starts it out. Jeff La Caprouche gets bothered by Corey David. David steals the puck, flips to Pribble. He's got some room in front. Pribble shot, save, rebound, another save. Oh, 2 big saves by Branowski, and down the ice it goes. Picked up by Frankie Joy. Joy steps by one check, feeds to Kerwin, to David. David deflects it in the zone. Comes in behind the net. Smith picks it up. 2 great opportunities for Massena. Now the puck around the boards. Joy looks to keep it in. He can't. Comes back to Kerwin, or Dion at neutral ice. Goes to Corey David. David steps by one check. The puck comes free. Here comes St. Francis. Smith across the blue line. The shot. The big save made by T-Bone. He's going to cover it up.
That's when you have to come up big, when you're in a...
Now Buxton gets into it with Converse, and I think they're both going to get the gate.
Emotions running a little high here with 6:36 left in the second period, but we mentioned you called Branowski coming up big. Pribble broke in alone, and he put it right into Branowski's pad, so we'll call that a stalemate, not a great save. But then the rebound came right out to Converse, and he wanted to go top side, glove side, and somehow Branowski slid across and stacked the pads and made just an outstanding save, because I had that one chalked up for Jason Converse.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you. So we're 4-on-4 again with matching minor penalties to Buxton and Converse. And we're down to 6:26 left in the second period on the A1 TV and Appliance scoreboard. It's a 3-3 tie.
And excuse me, Jerry.
O'Shea out there with Courier, Dion, and Rochford. And it's going to be Rayom out there with Shamaga, Fatty, and La Caprouche, rather.
The stoppage of play with the penalties and the tennis balls and things like that only helps St. Francis. Again,
absolutely.
Short-staffed, they every chance they get for a rest, it's to their advantage, much more so than Massena's.
Shamaga takes the face-off, wins the draw, moves it in front, but it's knocked away. O'Shea back to the blue line. Lacaprouche keeps it in. Then it flips out to neutral ice. After it there is Wright back in the Massena zone. Delay offsides on St. Francis. They clear. And here comes P.J. Rochford. Flipping ahead for Dion. Dion had the puck get away from him. Knocked away. And nobody seems to want it now as it just trickles back in the St. Francis zone. Picked up there by the St. Francis defense. Head man to Rayom. He dumps it in the zone. Puck goes in the corner. Dion after it. He gets tied up in the boards. O'Shea comes in to help out. He just got elbowed, I would say. And the puck comes back to the blue line. Here's a drive through traffic that bounces into the corner. Courier back to pick it up to Dion. Dion ahead to PJ, and he just deflects it out to neutral ice. O'Shea after with Wright. O'Shea stays on him. Wright comes up with it. The bouncing puck, there's going to be a penalty, and Timmy O'Shea is going to pick up a penalty for holding, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, in that situation, when the way they were tied up and Wright trying to come across, O'Shea behind him, and Wright goes down, I think everybody in the rink is going to call a penalty on that one. And St. Francis, I'll tell you, again, we've talked so many times, they only have 12 skaters out here, but they're throwing as many checks out there as the Raiders are right now. Rayom just put an awful lick on one of the Raiders on the far side, and then back in the corner, number 17, Alvarez, threw a check. So
was that the one he led with his elbow?
I think that was Rayom.
Oh, that was Rayom's? Yeah. Off the face-off. Let's see here. Massena's got Spanberg, Joy, and Schneider to kill. Here comes St. Francis dumping it in the Massena zone. Joy rips it around the boards. Fatty steps into it. No, he can't keep it in. Now we got a race for it. Lacaprouche and Spanberg. Spanberg gets to the puck, takes it in front, shot, and a save made, and a good one by Branowski as Spanberg got a good shot off. Now back the other way comes Fatty for St. Francis. Matching penalties with 6 seconds. Fatty goes wide, takes it in behind, and the puck comes free to Golder. Golder, they got 2 men are back on the ice now. The puck poke checked by Schneider, comes side of the net. Now it bounces right on. Golder got just a little piece of that and directed it toward the net, and it's going to be a save for Brooke Tebow.
I'll tell you, Josh Spanberg's move when you go to the net and you've got that defenseman on your back that coming in off the wing is one of the toughest things for a forward to do. That reminded me of so much of assistant coach Jovan Marish when he played hockey. He was one of the best at doing that. One of the toughest guys. He'd come off that wing and go to the net. Didn't matter if he had 1 or 2 guys on him. I'll tell you, and that's a dangerous or scary thing when those goalposts don't give too much.
Off the face-off. Of course, when Jovan played, they gave a lot less than they do now.
That's right.
The puck comes out to center ice just barely and comes free to Michael Lapointe. Here's Lapointe in. He's got a crowd on him. Takes it in the corner. In behind the net, does a dipsy doodle, hits the side of the net, gets it back again. Looks for service, but it's too far and comes out to center ice. Golder, his pass intercepted momentarily. Now Smith follows, takes it across, centers it right in front. It bounces free. About 20 seconds left in the power play. Raiders control. P.J. Rochford, and he's going to dump it down the ice. 15 seconds left in the power play for St. Francis. Smith with a puck in behind, picks up Service as a forechecker, flips it ahead along the boards. Now Service still putting pressure on, gets a piece of the puck, and it's knocked away by Ronnie Smith. And Smith's going to move it ahead. That'll take care of the penalty as O'Shea's back on the ice. He's got the puck. Takes it across the blue line. Here's O'Shea trying to center it in front. Service pokes at it. Save made. Rebound bounces in and up over the glass and into the stands.
I'll tell you, the Red Raiders from St. Francis look to me, Jerry, right now a little tired. They didn't have the zip on that power play. For example, Chris Fatty over there, number 6 on that last rush. If he had gone to the net and he's on a power play, he doesn't have to worry about being outnumbered coming back. He had a great opportunity. The puck came right across, but he kind of just was out of gas. He didn't get to the net. And the same thing at the other end defensively. They looked really tired trying to set up that power play.
Face-off left side inside St. Francis zone. Jason Converse out there with his line mates. Corey David, Les Pribble. 3:50 left in the period, tied at 3. Back to the blue line. Schneider's shot. Score! And that had to be deflected in front.
Shot back from... If it did, it probably Corey David. We'll wait and see. Off the draw, right back to Chad Snyder, and he cranked one up about a waist-high shot through traffic, and somebody in front might have been Corey David. It might have been Les Pribble. We're not sure. We'll wait for the call. But the Raiders, with 3:47 left in the second period, go up by 1, 4-3.
Yep, Corey David in front. And a good shot by Schneider, low to the ice. And that's the shot you give you a chance to deflect with. Here's Corey David again, gets knocked down. The puck comes, they got knocked down by two guys, though. Want to make that known. Puck in behind. Picked up by Joy. Joy gets rubbed off the play. Shamaga, Joy gets it back. Waves at it. Bouncing puck to Pribble at the blue line. Moves it out to center ice. Corey David. David back to Converse. Converse skates it in. Gets the shot. Save made. And holding on will be Brunowski. And let's see here. Who's that ran into him? Rob Strickler was coming back, and he lost his footing. And he ran right into his goaltender and knocked him down.
Corey David, his 8th of the year at the 11-13 mark, and as you call it, he's in front, and he's so tough to move out of there. One, he takes up a lot of space. I mean, he's a wide body, and in the sense he's those big shoulders. Plus, you can't get him out of there. Jason Converse and Chad Snyder picking up the assist.
Converse will take the faceoff. Raiders lead it 4-3. Off the draw, back to the point. Schneider winds up again. The shot, big save in front, or did it get through? I don't know, but anyway, it's out to neutral ice. Now it's Schneider again, across the blue line, trying to throw the check, picked up in the shot by Pribble and gloved by Brunowski.
To answer your question on that last one, I don't think it did get through, Jerry.
Okay.
I think it hit defenseman out in front, but the Raiders going in spurts here now, really turning up the juice. And we said St. Francis looks a tad tired at this stage, and I'm sure Coach John Bowers wants to, again, hold on, get in there, get a rest at intermission. But Converse won the draw, back to Snyder, got the shot off, and David in front redirected it.
Timmy O'Shea out to take the faceoff against Fatty. Off the draw, comes back to Schneider at the point. He just bangs it in the corner for O'Shea. O'Shea now to Service, who gets knocked down in behind the net. Or that's Courier, excuse me. Puck around the boards. Going to be a penalty on Massena. Yeah. As Courier retaliated, he was held in the corner, and then he retaliated, and he'll be called for it, for holding.
Jamie Courier, as you called it, Jerry, getting a holding call with 2:49 in the second period, sending St. Francis on the power play, an opportunity to tie up this hockey game.
And now Schneider comes over, and I don't know what his call is for.
It might be maybe a misconduct. We'll wait and see. He might have said something to one of the officials. No, it's a minor
penalty. So now Massena with two-man disadvantage for the next minute and a half.
Well, evidently each of the officials, Steve Kotzen and Billy Foster, each had a call, because I know Foster had the holding call on Courier, and evidently Kotzen got Chad Snyder he's got him for a slash.
Okay, off the face-off. Spanberg wins the draw, drops it to PJ, and PJ flips it back in the St. Francis zone. Raiders lead it 4-3 on the A1 TV and Appliance scoreboard. Here comes Golder into the Massena zone. Golder gets by, centers it right on, and it's poke-checked by the goalie. Back to the blue line, La Capruscia fakes the shot, flips to Smith. Smith in the corner. Spanberg steals. The puck knocked away from him. Back to the blue line, nobody's there, and it trickles out to neutral ice. La Capruscia. He's got Rochford on him. The puck comes bouncing into the Massena zone. Tebow comes out of the net to try to clear it in the corner. He lost it. They wrap it around and score. And Brooke Tebow, I don't know what he was doing that time.
Long rink-wide pass that Alvarez jumped on in behind the defense and raced for the puck, and Brooke Tebow came out to play it with his stick, and he just fanned on it. He just fanned on it, and Alvarez continued. The puck went in behind the net, and Alvarez picked it up, went right around, and stuffed it on the short side. So that's going to be a power play goal, and St. Francis will still be.
That'll tie it up at 4.
Still be on a power play. We've still got. The Raiders have got 5 skaters out there with 2 guys in the box. We got little, and they're both minor penalties. I'm not sure what this is. It's, you see it once in a blue moon, Jerry, when you get 2 minor penalties on the same play against one team. I haven't seen it this year, but the Raiders did when Courier and Schneider both picked up minors from each official had a different call.
So now St. Francis has tied the game up again at 4. 2:08 remaining off the face-off. Massena went. Massena had been to that point killing the penalties very well, and that should not have been a problem. But here comes St. Francis out to center ice. Pass intercepted by Joy, and he flips it right back in the St. Francis zone. Here comes La Capruscia. Lacaprouche takes it across the blue line. Now takes it in behind, looks to center. It bounces off the Massena defenseman and in behind the net. Picked up there by St. Francis. They move it around the horn behind the net. Trying to set it up in the corner. Bounces back to the 45 to the blue line. Lacaprouche goes to right. Right winds up his shot. Save made. Rebound trickles back to the blue line. Into the corner. 8 seconds left. Here's Alvarez. Alvarez, a backhander, goes wide in behind the net. 2 seconds. 1 second. Now the puck comes free to Dion. And Massena gets a man back. Dion looks to tie it up in behind. And it comes bouncing around to the blue line. We have a whistle. And I think we're going to have a penalty on St. Francis.
It's going to be Lacaprouche. I do believe that he's questioning the call. But I tell you, just before that, Alvarez, I think bad judgment. He had on that, they were on a power play, and Alvarez wending his way in the zone. He had Lacaprouche all alone off to the right of Thibault, and Alvarez tried to make an extra move himself, and all he had to do was feather it off to Lacaprouche, and they have a golden scoring opportunity.
So now the Raiders go on the power play, and they picked up 2 penalties. Jeez.
Well, you see it in a once in a blue moon. Well, we're seeing it twice in a blue moon. I have never seen this in a game that my memory is not the best again, but where one team will pick up 2 minor penalties on the same call. Massena just experienced it. Now St. Francis has experienced it.
So the Raiders have a 2-man advantage now for the next minute and a half with 1:11 left in the second period.
One is going to be a holding call, and that one's going to be against, and the other's going to be a slash. That's a deja vu. Massena had a holding and slash on their 2 calls. So St. Francis is picking up a holding and a slashing call. Lacaprouche got the holding, and Rayom is going to pick up the slashing.
So now Massena goes on a 2-man advantage. And the Raiders will send out that service line. It's going to be Golder out there along with Chris Fatty and Chet Wright in the penalty kill. Off the faceoff, Joy is out there with P.J. Rochford on the defense. Spanberg has the puck. Spanberg's going to take it in the zone, set up the power play. Spanberg back to the blue line. Here's the shot, save made, rebound in the corner. Lapointe flips it around the board. Spanberg after it. Spanberg to Joy. Joy on the other side. PJ in front to Spanberg. Back to Joy. Joy's got room. Fakes the shot, then bounces it in front. Service. Winds at it, and it goes into the corner. Puck around the board. Spanberg with it. Spanberg in behind. Has it poked away. Trying to come up with it. Puck in the corner. Service has it free momentarily. Comes back to Spanberg. They dig at it. Finally comes back to Joy at the point. Joy over to PJ. PJ trying to flip it around. It's intercepted. Comes back to Joy. Joy goes in the corner to Spanberg. Spanberg's pass is knocked away. It comes to the blue line. Spanberg's out there after it. Spanberg flips it in front. Bounces free into the corner. 30 seconds left in the power play. Around the boards it goes to Frank Joy. Joy winds up. His shot deflected right on. Save made by Bronowski. Puck comes back to Joy. His shot. Oh, Mike Lapointe just got nailed and the buzzer sounds. So Massena unable. Now there's mixing it up in behind the net. And there's going to be penalties on that.
Just a great penalty-killing job by that 3 of Kevin Golder, Chet Wright, and number 27, Chris Fatty. They did a super job out there killing off all but 19 seconds of that 2-man disadvantage.
So we've ended the second period, all tied at 4. And I think there might be a couple of matching penalties at the end of the period there, but we'll wait on that. We can tell you our broadcast on WMSA brought to you by Homestead Dairy, West Hatfield, and the corner of North Main and Maple in Massena. By the Village Engraver at 80 Parker Avenue in Massena. By the members of the Seacom Federal Credit Union, 30 Stern Street, Massena. Coca-Cola Bottling, Outer East Orvis Street in Massena. By Massena Building Supply, 70 Water Street. Massena Optics, 55 Main Street. By Tiffany's Restaurant, 46 Main Street, downtown Massena. By the North Country Savings Bank, 22 Phillip Street, Massena. By Paris Environmental Control Corporation on the Winthrop Road in Massena. By Nationwide Insurance at 229 East Orvis Street. And by Reynolds Metals, St. Lawrence Reduction Plant. Working together, their quality shines through. Tied at 4 after 2 periods, Dave.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see if the officials went and assessed any penalties.
I don't think so.
I don't think they did. There was a little skirmish down there with the St. Francis player, and I think it was Seth's service, but they didn't call anything. But Well, again, it ended 2-2 at the end of the first period, and both teams scored a deuce here in the second period. Massena broke the 2-2 tie at the 3:29 mark. Mike Lapointe is second of the afternoon. Josh Bamberg, this is just a bullet drive. The Raiders kept it in. Great work by Lapointe, as you called, and to Spanberg, back to Lapointe, and he wristed a 35-footer bullet that beat Branowski to the stick side. And then at the 6:32 mark on a power play, Jeff Lacapouche, this was a off the draw, came back to the defenseman. I don't know why there weren't two assists in this, but they only gave one to Golder. Golder slid it across to Lacapouche, and for something better to do, he really couldn't get a lot on it. He just kind of wristed it from, I'd say, 55 feet, just inside the blue line. And goalie Brooke Tebow, instead of coming out and then glove and body behind the glove, he came out, but just it's like a first baseman would try to catch it, but he didn't have his body behind it, and he misjudged it and went right over the glove and into the short side, and St. Francis had tied it up. And then at the 11:13 mark, his 8th of the year, Corey David, from Chad Snyder and Jason Converse off the draw. Massena won it clean. Converse got it back to Schneider, and he timed one through traffic, and big Corey David standing in front got the stick on and redirected it. Boom, put the Raiders up 4-3. And then at the 12:52 mark, a very strange goal. Massena was down two men at the time, and there was a long pass from the left side. It came across the neutral zone. Didn't touch anything, went off the boards, and Chris Alvarez raced for it. But Brooke Tebow got there first, no question, had plenty of time, and he was going to flip the puck. I think he wanted to flip it past Alvarez to the boards. He fanned on it, just simply fanned on it, and Alvarez picked up the puck, went in behind the net, and came out and tucked it in the short side.
So that tied it up at 4, and that's where we are right now after 2 periods. Saves in the period for Branowski of St. Francis, 15 for a 2-period total of 22, and for Brooke Tebow of Massena, 10, a 2-period total of 12. So the Raiders are out shooting St. Francis, but on the scoreboard it's all tied up. Lots and lots and lots of penalties in that second period. Just taking a look at all the penalties in the period. It was at 1:31 matching penalties. Les Pribble of Massena for a hit after the whistle. Chet Wright also picking up the hit after the whistle of St. Francis. Then at 6:49, it was Frank Joy going off for interference, followed by Jeff Lacapouche picking up an elbowing call. And then Chet Wright got a hit from behind, and Massena had a brief 2-man advantage, but were unable to convert. Wait a minute, was that? Yeah, that was their power play. No, that wasn't. Okay, that was not. That was no power play goal on that. Then Massena's Jason Converse picked up a hit after the whistle, and St. Francis Jesse Buxton a roughing call at 8:24. Then Massena picked up 3 in a row. Timmy O'Shea for holding, Jamie Courier for holding, and Chad Schneider for slashing. And Courier and Schneider's penalties were both at the same time. 2-man advantage, and St. Francis scored. Then near the end of the period, Jeff Lacapouche for holding and Darren Rayholm for slashing. And so Massena still has 19 seconds of 2-man advantage. So after 2 periods, it's a 4-4 tie hockey game. We're going to drop it back to our WMSA studios, and when we come back, we'll start the third period. Again, the score 4-4 tie after 2. Okay. And we're back here at the Massena Arena as we get ready for period number 3, a tie game, 4-4, Massena and St. Francis. And over in Potsdam, 3-1 Potsdam. We understand some interesting things have happened over there, too, some game misconducts and whatnot on Rome Free Academy. Don't know any more than that, though, so we'll leave it at that. Also, we can tell you that Ryan Kerwin was injured in that second period. Some kind of a bruised shoulder, some sort of a shoulder injury. It doesn't appear serious, but we probably won't see him in the third period.
According to Gary, he won't be back, and the Raiders will have to pick up the slack. Captain Ryan Kerwin not coming back this third period, we don't suspect, but that's bad news for Massena. But again, they've got 8 defensemen dressed. They've got enough guys to fill in.
So Massena with 19 seconds of 2-man advantage to start this third period. And they're going to start with Jason Converse's line out there. Converse out there with Pribble and David. And on defense, P.J. Rochford and Mike Dion. And we've got Golder out there, along with Chris Fatty and Chet Wright for St. Francis. 4-4 tie hockey game as we go into the third period. Well, now they're going to make a change. Massena changes, and they'll come out with a Seth service line.
12 penalties in that period, Jerry. 6 apiece.
Yeah. Too many. Off the faceoff, puck back into the Massena zone. The Raiders got about 15 seconds to rush it up ice. And it's going to be P.J. Rochford with it. Rochford just overskates it, has it knocked away, and it bounces down the ice to Josh Spanberg with 4 seconds left in the penalty. Here comes Josh, building up the head of steam. The penalty's heavy lapse, so Massena squanders a chance there, and the puck comes in behind the net. Spanberg rips it around the boards. Rochford keeps it in, bounces free, and out to center ice. Rochford dumps it back in the zone. Massena clears, and Lacaprouche moves it, doesn't clear the zone. Service keeps it in, has it knocked away, still in at the blue line. They bang at it, and finally it comes to Fatty. Fatty knocked off the puck. Spanberg drops it to P.J. Rochford. Rochford flipping ahead for Dion. Dion couldn't come up with it. The puck sits in front of the blue line, and finally it's Golder across. He just got railed by the Massena player. That was Rochford, and here comes Spanberg. Here's Spanberg's shot. Just missed the side of the net. Didn't miss by much. Now the puck around the boards. St. Francis Golder. Golder has it poke checked away as he tries to come in the zone. Now it's picked up by Buxton. We have a whistle. And what are they going to call?
I'm not sure, but
Too many men on the ice?
Kotzen is standing down at the penalty bench area, and I think the penalty might be going to St. Francis. Let's see. The gate
swings open.
And Alvarez and Buxton coming back on to talk to Coach John Bowers, and now referee Steve Kotzen is going to pass the word along. Probably will be too many men, but that's been happening all day over there. Line changes, you know, it's like sometimes Broadway and whatever over there with the line changes. And
well, apparently no penalty. I don't know what the call was.
Well, somebody is still going to come. I think there is going to be a penalty because.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, they're going to send number 18, Rob Strickler, in the box, but I bet it's too many men on the ice.
Yeah, that's what it is. A too many men on the ice penalty.
Boy.
We haven't seen too many of those this year either.
And again, that's sometimes it's a tough change over there with the boxes being side by side.
Off the face-off, Frank Joy ahead to Rochford. Rochford takes it across, trying to drop it in the corner, gets it back again. Bounces free, kept in by Rochford. Along the blue lines, he'll flip over on the other side for Corey David. Gets by him. Here's Smith after it. Rips it around the boards. Converse steps in front. Here's Converse trying to center it. It's knocked away. And back comes St. Francis. Lacaprouche. Lacaprouche trying to go by the defenseman, but he is taken out of the play by Rochford nicely, and Joy picks up the puck. He's going to lug it out to center ice. Here's Joy with it. 50 seconds left in the power play. Takes it across, flips to David. Offsides will be the call. And we'll have a face-off outside the zone.
If you go by the stats, and I think you can throw those out in this game, but the Raiders have outscored the opposition in the third period, 27-7. But St. Francis has been pretty successful. I think they've scored on just about 25% of their shots today. So
every shot's an adventure. Golder will take the face-off against Service. Off the draw, Massena controls. Here comes Dion, just takes it across the blue line, bounces away and down the ice. About 35 seconds remaining in the power play. Massena's got the Seth service line out. Here's Spanberg. He leaves it for Frankie Joy. Joy skates it ahead. Goes to Spanberg down the wing. Here's Spanberg taking it in the zone. In the corner, sets up the power play. Back to Joy at the point. Joy to Spanberg. Spanberg steps in the circle, goes to Service. Poke check back to the blue line. Joy winds up, shot through traffic. Save made, rebound. Side of the net, LaPointe. Oh, didn't score. The puck, here's a shot. Save made by Bernowski. Comes to the blue line. Dion winds at it. His shot, the save made. Comes to Service. Back to the point. Joy winds up his shot. He fired it wide. In front, Spanberg. Nice save by Bronowski on the backhander by Spanberg. And Bronowski standing on his head right now, keeping Massena off the board.
Oh, I can't believe that save. Just an outstanding save. Josh Spanberg coming off the boards on the right side, had the wide open net, and Bronowski dove across. And I don't know how he made the save, but he did. And just prior to that, in that same sequence, number 12, Chet Wright made a great defensive play when he sprawled and got the stick across to prevent a excellent scoring opportunity by the Raiders. But
wow,
Bronowski really coming up big.
O'Shea will take the face-off on the right side. Off the draw, puck in behind the net. Wrapped around the boards, La Capruscia with it. Moves it ahead to Fatty. Fatty dumps to the Massena line, and in the zone it goes. P.J. Rochford in after it. Puck in behind the net and around the boards. Comes to La Capruscia. He has it poked away. Here comes O'Shea with it. Busting in by Grisbaum. O'Shea's in front. He gets hauled down. There's going to be a penalty. And the whistle blows as O'Shea was hooked. He still had an excellent scoring opportunity. Didn't get the shot up, but then flipped it in front of the net, and nobody followed up.
And there was a wide open net with Bronowski out of position. Number 4, George Grisbaum is going to pick up the penalty. He had to sprawl along the ice to try to upend Timmy O'Shea from impeding him to the net, and he knocked the pins out from under him. And as you said, no one followed up because it was a wide open net, and I think Seth Service had the best shot at it.
Face off right side, inside St. Francis zone. Service, Lapointe, and Spanberg right back out there on the power play. Chris Fatty will take the draw. Off the face-off, comes back to Mike Dion. He sweeps it to P.J., winds up his shot. Bronowski save. Rebound Service, and he fired it wide. Wide open net, and he fired it wide. Here's Lapointe digging for it in the corner. And it's dumped down the ice by St. Francis. Still 4-4 tie on the Corky's Collision scoreboard. P.J. Rochford leaves it for Spanberg. Spanberg skates it ahead to Service. Service shovels it in the zone. Puck in the corner. La Capruscia in after it. In behind the net. Lapointe throws a check. The puck squirts free. Alvarez. In behind again, Mike Lapointe. He throws a check again. The puck in behind. A penalty. And they're going to call what? They're going to call Lapointe? And they're going to call matching? For what?
I can't. I refuse to answer on the grounds it might incriminate me.
So Lapointe goes in the box.
One hitting from behind and a roughing call.
La Capruscia will go in as well.
Well, this will put, I'm going to say, yeah, the St. Francis Club down 2 skaters, and Massena just won, and more open ice for Captain Josh Spanberg, and let's see who's going to have out there.
No, he's going to go with...
changing it up. Okay.
They've been out there a long time, so we'll go with the second line coming out, Jason Converse. He'll be out there with Corey David, Pribble. Now, Massena's got to take a man off. And wait a minute, they still got one too many out there. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. They got to take it off the clock. That's right. It won't be 4-on-3. It's 5-on-4 still because there was time up on the penalty
time
clock.
On the clock, that's right.
Okay, so it's a 5-on-4 power play. That's right. Off the draw. Puck in the corner, right whacks at it, or fakes to whack at it, then tries to kick it ahead, and Converse comes up with it. Over on the other side to Corey David. David in the corner, moves it along the boards, back to the blue line. Kept in by Joy. Joy to Schneider. He's got lots of room, cranks it up too high, and a glove by goaltender Bronowski.
Got to get those shots down from the point. And one of the reasons sometimes that defensemen do get that shot up is they bring the stick up in a hurry. When they release the shot, the blade comes up, it makes the puck come up. You got to, when you're a defenseman or whoever's shooting from the point, you want to remember to keep that follow through low.
4-4 tie here. Off the face-off, Pribble. Back to the point to Joy. Joy, his shot, right on, save, rebound, score! Jason Converse, and Massena takes the lead, 5-4.
You can only go to the well just so often, and penalty after penalty, and I'm not sure they were all deserved or not, but finally the bell tolled once too often for Bronowski. Shot came from the point. He stacked the pads and made a great save, but Jason Converse, cruising off to Bronowski's right, picked up the rebound, and boy, he didn't make any mistake. It was on the stick, and he put a backhander up over the top of Bronowski, and the Raiders break on top 5-4.
A lot of time left in this game, though, Dave.
You bet.
I'll be real surprised if it ends up 5-4. Here's Frank Joy with a puck. Ahead to Pribble, knocked away from him. Here comes Golder right back in the zone. He takes it wide in the corner. He and Joy go together, and the puck cleared around the boards. Oh, to the blue line. Kept in at the point. Bouncing in the corner. Converse flips it ahead, and it crosses just out across the blue line. And Pribble almost was able to get free, but it's dumped back inside Massena territory. Joy in behind the net, gets tied up, then kicks it away. Converse is there, poked away from him, and it'll come to Schneider. 10.5 left in the third period, 5-4 Massena. David trying to get it out of the zone as St. Francis puts some pressure on. They got a goaler in front, his shot, he scores. No! He didn't score. Holy cow! I thought he scored, but right there was Billy Foster to wave it off, and the puck must have hit the goal post and came back out again, and it looked like Brook had covered it, and the whistle blew, even though he hadn't, and Massena definitely dodged a bullet there.
It hit where the crossbar and the goal post to join up that top corner. A wicked bullet that had Brooke Tebow back in a crease, had a beat, but as I say, a goaltender's best friends, the crossbars and the goal post, and that time they both came into play. Raiders really caught a break.
O'Shea off the face-off, takes it in behind the net, wraps it around the boards. Fatty steps in front of it, gets knocked away. Dion with it, takes a poke at it. Now O'Shea in behind. St. Francis putting on a lot of pressure here. Puck still tied up in the corner, and it finally squirts free. In behind, goes to the side of the net. Brooke Tebow is going to glove it. It's next to the net. We'll face it off again.
And sometimes the home club catches a break in other ways. Just prior to that, I think it was number 10, Golder, who broke down the right side and had the Raider defenseman. I think it was Frankie Joy beating that. He grabbed him, just put the clutch right on him, spun him around, but they didn't get the call.
It's funny how some of the ones they did call, never would have thought, and that one they should have called. Well, so maybe, hopefully, it'll all even out in the end, right? Puck in the corner, in the Massena zone. After PJ throws a check, but the puck comes free. He gets it back again, moves it to Service. Service bangs it down the ice, and that'll be an icing call against Massena. And I'll tell you, St. Francis really putting a lot of pressure on right now.
And that his first goal of the year, I'll tell you, that's the one that's broke this tie. Jason Converse, that was so instrumental, was our Coke player of the game yesterday with 3 assists. Jason picks up his first of the year from Corey David and Frankie Joy on a power play.
Fatty will be in there to take the face-off. That's Nick Fatty. He'll face off, and he wins the draw, has it poked away, comes back to Lacaprouche, flips it in the corner for Fatty. Fatty gets it back again, knocked away, goes in behind the net. Here's the wraparound attempt, and it's poked away to the blue line and out to center ice. Lacaprouche dumps it. O'Shea will gather it, has it knocked away, but Courier's there. Courier trying to flip it ahead. Here comes Lacaprouche. And he's a defenseman who likes to rush the puck a little bit too, and he can handle it. Here's O'Shea, knocked away from him, back in the Massena zone. Joy flips to Schneider. Schneider ahead to Courier. Courier knocked off the puck. Alvarez picks it up. Back inside the Massena zone. It comes to Joy. Joy moving it ahead. Service to O'Shea, and O'Shea will ice it down the ice. And we got a change here. With 8:53 remaining in period number 3 on the Corky's Collision scoreboard, Raiders lead at 5-4, but look a little disorganized.
Yeah, well, they certainly do at this stage right now. I'm surprised. Again, the stoppage of play aids St. Francis. I mean, they've played 2 games like the Raiders have in 20 hours, but only with 12 skaters. They're going with 4 defensemen, and, you mentioned Lacapouche. He's seen an awful lot of ice time out here.
Off the face-off. Services line out now for Massena. Here's Schneider ripping it around the boards for LaPointe. Poked away from him, comes to Joy. In the corner, tied up. Puck bounces in front of the net, and it's poke checked by Tebow into the corner for Massena. Joy gets tied up, can't come up with it. Bounces free in behind. Here's Golder with it. Golder centering pass in front. The shot, big save, best save of the game for Tebow right there. Excellent play. Puck comes in behind the net, picked up by Joy. Joy, his pass intercepted, comes out into the high slot. Here's a shot, score! And that one was an easy one, and it's going to be, let's see here.
Grisbaum
getting the goal to tie it up at 5. And Tebow just made a great save on a hard shot, and that one just trickled by, and now it's 5-5.
Perseverance paid off. I'll tell you, the St. Francis stayed right away. Golder set up right on the first one, and Brook made the nice save on it. I thought maybe Golder was going to try a wraparound because he could have walked right out, but he fed right. But they stayed at it, and that one came back to the point. And Grisbaum, from about 35, 40 feet, didn't have a lot on it, but beat Brooke Tebow. Glove side high.
Okay, we're fives now. Here comes Jason Converse, bangs it in the zone, and racing in after it is Grisbaum in behind the net. He wraps it around the boards. Here's Converse, throws a check, but the puck bounces free. Jason picks it up, flips it in for Corey David. David gets tied up in the corner, bouncing puck. PJ, his shot right on, save made, and the rebound covered up by Bronowski.
I think Grisbaum is going to get the goal, and number 18, Strickler, is going to pick up the assist, Rob Strickler, and that's coming at the 6:29 mark.
Now the Strickler and Golder are complaining about something, and I don't know what, to the official, but the faceoff is going to come inside the St. Francis zone. 5-5 tie with 7:52 remaining in period number 3. Converse will take the draw. Off the faceoff, goes in behind the net. Bronowski leaves it for his defenseman, who moves it along the boards to the blue line. Dion keeps it in. Bouncing puck. Now it's dumped. Dion keeps it in again. Now it just crawls over the blue line, and it's going to come to P.J. Rochford. Rochford ahead to Converse. Converse flipping in the zone for David. Right. Bangs it ahead. P.J. races in, trying to flip it free. Comes to Converse. He whacks at it. Puck goes in the corner. After it, Corey David, he throws a check. The puck squirts free. Shamaga trying to move it out. He moves it ahead, and it's out to center ice off the stick of Wright. Right to Fatty. Fatty dumps it in the zone. In behind the net is Dion. Dion gets tied up. The puck squirts free. Dion stays with it. Comes to Corey David, and they move it out to center ice. Dumped by Smith right back in the zone. Delay offsides. And Tebow went after the puck and lost his edge and fell down, but Massena will control it. Out to center ice. Down the ice it goes, and Raiders will make a change as they come out with the O'Shea line. In behind the net, picked up by Jesse Buxton. Buxton trying to move it ahead, bounces to the blue line out to center ice. And it hit the official, crawls across the Massena line. We have a whistle, and I think this is going to be an offsides on St. Francis.
Raiders, I don't know, a small break there. St. Francis on a rush under a full head of steam, and St. Francis tried to dump it in, had his wingers on the move, but it hit referee Steve Kotzen.
Face off out by the red line. O'Shea will draw and wins the draw, goes to Frank Joy. Joy to Schneider. Schneider skates it ahead from the red line, dumps it, and it bounces over a stick and into the penalty box. So we'll face it off right there at the red line again. 6:29 or 39, I'm not sure which, remaining in the third period. We're all tied at 5.
I thought that at this stage the Raiders would have a little more leg, but right at the present moment, and it probably could change 30 seconds from now, it looks like St. Francis has got a little more jump.
Off the face-off. The puck bounces along the board. Service gets a piece of that. Scotty kicks it ahead, trying to take it in the zone. It bounces free, and Schneider comes up with it. He dumps it. It's going to trickle right in on goal, and Bronowski's going to cover it up.
Oh, he's not going to run him, is he? Oh, no.
Now they're going to call.
Yeah,
Timmy O'Shea was rushing the net.
Oh, I thought he was going to.
He called him for
the ice up in his face.
A misconduct. Oh, boy.
Well, for our fans out there, long shot to Bronowski. Made the save, and Timmy O'Shea racing in. The whistle had blown, and he did that hockey stop in front of the goaltender, and the shavings flew up. And I didn't think it was a penalty. And then there was the St. Francis player kind of pushed him, and I thought he was going to call St. Francis for roughing too. It's not a misconduct.
It's a unsportsmanlike.
It's unsportsman.
Oh boy! So now St. Francis goes on the power play. Yep, that's what it is, unsportsmanlike. Oh, boy. Must be they've been given instructions to make that call, because I've seen that a couple of times this year. And now St. Francis dumps in the Massena zone. Raiders have got to try to kill this one off. Here's Frank Joy with the puck. Flips it ahead for Spanberg. Spanberg finds the hole, and down the ice it goes. And right in on Bronowski. He makes the stop and leaves it for Lacaprouche. Lacaprouche, the defenseman, moves it ahead. And out to center ice, Golder with it. Here comes Kevin Golder across the blue line in the Massena zone. P.J. Rochford gets a piece of it, and it's poke-checked out to center ice by Spanberg. Lacaprouche again picks it up. and dumps it. That'll be an icing call on St. Francis. And the face-off will move back in St. Francis territory with 41 seconds left in the power play. 5:26 in the third period. We're tied at 5.
Excellent job by that unit of Spanberg, assess service, Mike Dion and P.J. Rochford, and the Raiders are changing the up-front man, Pribble and Corey David coming out.
Face-off back inside St. Francis territory. Golder against David with 41 seconds left in the power play. And now St. Francis wants a timeout, and probably a good time for a timeout.
Yeah, we don't want to seem redundant coming back, but with 12 skaters and playing 2 games in less than 20 hours, and this has been a fast-paced game as far as hitting on both sides. A lot of skating out there, but Coach John Bowers electing with 5 minutes to want to give those key players of his a rest to kill off this last 41 seconds.
5-5 tie game. Our broadcast on WMSA brought to you by Reynolds Metals, Nationwide Insurance, by Paris Environmental Control Corporation, also by the North Country Savings Bank, Tiffany's Restaurant, by Massena Optics, Massena Building Supply, Coca-Cola Bottling, by Seacom Federal Credit Union, by the Village Engraver, and by Homestead Dairy, all sponsors making our broadcast possible. Massena Red Raider hockey this year. We're tied at 5 with 5:26 remaining in period number 3.
Just looked at Joey's sheet over there, and I think I counted up correctly 21 minor penalties. Boy, like last night we played, we had a 7-3 game, only 5 minor penalties, and the flow, the continuity was there. Bingo. Back come the next day, and you got 21 penalties, and it really just
it's too bad.
It's hard.
Unfortunate. It really is. Corey David to face off against Golder. David wins the draw. Flips it in behind the net. Lacaprouche for St. Francis. Jeff Lacaprouche dumps it ahead. It's going to come to David. He dumps it right back in the zone. Delay offsides on Massena. And Pribble's going to have to get out of the zone. And it's almost a head man to Smith, and he's going to dump it in the zone with 20 seconds in the power play. Puck comes to Dion. Rips it around the boards. Kept in at the point. They got a man in front. Here's an opportunity, and P.J. Rochford sprawling blocks the play. Here's Dion around the boards, just trying to control it ahead. Has it knocked away. Here comes the chance in front. The backhander. Big save by Tebow. Oh, huge save. And the Raiders dump it down the ice. That'll be an icing call on Massena. No, apparently not. They got it just in time before the penalty elapsed. And Tebow came up with a big save right there. Now the puck dumped out to center ice. Golder flipping ahead. Knocked away. Courier has it knocked away from him. And Golder back across. Here's Golder. In the zone, taken out of the play. Puck in behind. Rochford throws a check. Comes up with the puck. Gets knocked down. Bouncing puck goes in front of the net, but is picked up by Spanberg. Here comes Josh. Head of steam by 1. Spanberg takes it across. Feeds in front, and it's knocked away. Back the other way comes St. Francis. Headman pass. Goes to Shamaga. Shamaga poked away back out to center ice. Picked up there by Wright. Wright flips it in the zone. Delay off sides. They clear. Frank Joy comes up with a puck for Massena. Here's Joy. Out to center ice. Takes it along the boards. Flips it inside the St. Francis zone. A D-to-D pass, and they move it out to center ice. Comes to Fatty. He has it in the zone. Knocked away from him. And LaPointe flips it ahead for Service. Here's Service. Out to center ice. Seth Service with a puck. Takes it across. Winds it up. His shot. Brunowski makes a good save. Puck in the corner. Spanberg flips it in behind for Service. Service gets tied up by Wright. The puck squirts free. Spanberg back to the point. Frank Joy winds up. His shot deflected right on. The rebound is cleared down the ice. And that'll be an icing call on St. Francis if it goes far enough. And it just, they waved it off. It did go far enough, but they wave off the icing. Now the puck comes free to Service. Flips to Spanberg. Spanberg, cross-ice pass to LaPointe, knocked away, but the Raiders clear. Here comes Mike LaPointe, one-on-one. LaPointe takes it across, gets a shot. The save 8, Service! Oh, he fired it over the net! Oh, boy, the bouncing puck in front. Spanberg's got it. His shot hit the goalpost. The rebound stays out of there. How did it stay out? I can't believe it. Comes to Spanberg. Spanberg, Rochford, his shot goes just wide. Bouncing puck comes to the blue line in front of the net, and it's controlled by St. Francis, and they ice the puck, but it's not going to go far enough for icing, and it comes to PJ. PJ in behind the net, goes over to Dion. Dion, head man to Pribble. Pribble backhands it to center ice. Shamaga's there. Flips it to the Massena line. Dion again. He'll go to Rochford. 2:20 left. 5-5 tie. Rochford trying to flip it ahead to Spanberg. Back to Rochford. Across the blue line. Into Converse. Here's Converse in behind. He's got the puck. Centers it. Comes back to the blue line. Corey David shot. Glove save. And holding on will be Bronowski. And how did that puck stay out of the net?
I don't know. Both clubs had a glorious opportunity to break this tie. Shamaga at the other end down here. Brooke Tebow making his best save of the night. Looked like he was going for the 5-hole. Tebow robbed him. Back the other way. LaPointe takes the shot. Seth Service got the best chance. Bronowski's down. He's got the whole 3/4 top of the net. Puts it over the top, and then Spanberg at the post.
Oh, boy. Face off. It's Jason Converse. Off the draw, puck comes to Converse. He tries to flip to the blue line. It's out to center ice. Schneider dumps it right back in the zone. Massena clears, and the puck comes in behind. Still 5-5 tie. Under 2 minutes to play in the third period. They tried a home run pass, but it's going to be an icing, as they had Golder breaking, and he just couldn't get a stick on it.
They had Golder breaking, and Frankie Joy read it all the way, and he jumped down. It was a whisker each way. Frankie, if he intercepts that, he's got a straight line to Bronowski, and on the other side of the coin, Frankie gambled. If he misses and Golder catches it, he's got a straight line to Brooke Tebow.
So we'll call it a push, huh? Off the face-off, puck in the circle. David digging for it. Looks to center, sharp angle shot. Bronowski makes a good save on Les Pribble. And here comes Golder into the Massena zone. Here's Golder in the corner. He's still got it. Centers it. Goes to the side of the net. Sharp angle shot is wide. Pribble looks up ice. Hits Corey David. Here comes David back the other way. He gets tied up, stays with it, though, and flips it in behind the net. Bounces to Golder, wraps it around the boards. Here's Schneider, cranks up at it. A bouncer, knocked away. Comes back by the blue line, kept in nicely by Massena's Converse. Now they clear it. Back, it bounces free. LaPointe gets tied up, and the puck comes back to Chet Wright. Wright will flip it on the other side to Smith. Smith has it knocked away. Fatty flips it ahead, and Alvarez comes back toward his own blue line. Drops it on the defense. They dump it. Here comes Shamaga across the blue line. Has it poked away. Picked up by Service. 2-on-1 with LaPointe. Service has it swept away. Now they get a man back. Here's Service. Still has it. He gets railed, and the puck bounces free. And here comes Fatty to the Massena line. It's poked away. Bounces free. Spanberg. LaPointe feeding Service. Back to Spanberg. Spanberg takes it across with La Capruscia. Spanberg's got it. Spanberg in behind the net. Here's Josh. Looking to go around to the blue line. Dion, his shot, knocked down, bounces in front. LaPointe trying to come up with it. Here's LaPointe, flips to Spanberg. Spanberg bounces in front. Poke check by the goalie. Great play by Bronowski. And St. Francis ices the puck, but it doesn't go far enough. Here comes Rochford. Dumps it in the zone and throws a check. 7 seconds left. La Capruscia with it. Wraps it around the boards. Dion keeps it in. Here's a chance in front for Service. 1 second, and he got the shot off too late. And we'll go to overtime.
I'll tell you, this place is really rocking. It's not the biggest crowd we've had in here, but I'll tell you, the last 5 minutes, it's been wide open style. Both clubs not playing it close to the best. Both clubs looking for a win here, not wanting to go to the OT. And I'll tell you, it's been end-to-end opportunities. And Josh Pamberg, with about 10 seconds left, had a golden opportunity, just held it just a second too long. And then Bronowski made a great poke check, but this has been wide open, very exciting. The coaches,
I don't think they want to play overtime.
Want to play overtime. I think they want to. Coach Bowers wants to get out of here, but I think it's St. Francis doesn't want to go OT. They feel there's just fumes left. Coach Long wants to go with an overtime, I can tell, but
we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I've got a feeling that we're not going to see any overtime. But I didn't think there would be a choice in this. I thought it
was automatic.
It was automatic, but
they're discussing it right now. 5-5 tie after 3 periods, and we'll have to wait and see. Massena wants to go overtime, and I don't think St. Francis does.
The way from the animation that we can, we're 100 feet away, but looking at the coaching staff on each side, I read that St. Francis doesn't want to go overtime, and Coach Tim Long and his staff, they want to play the overtime, but I don't think they're. Oh, that's wait,
they're going to play.
Now they're going to play. Okay, all right, good. That's.
So they'll go overtime. And, they've wasted about half of the 3-minute break time arguing about it. So now they'll go to overtime, a 5-minute overtime period. And we saw one of these on Wednesday.
Yeah, and the last 5 minutes, I guess the philosophy, I don't know, sometimes you get caught up in the flow. I thought maybe each club would play it a little closer to the vest and hoping to catch that break.
Not at all.
They weren't. It was rush end to end and no kitty bar the door. Let's throw everything but the kitchen sink, and it was exciting. The St. Francis had a great opportunity when I think it was
Shamaga, wasn't
Shamaga,
it?
19 broke in, and he had a backhander, and he was looking for the 5-hole, but Tebow robbed him. And then back at the other end, the Raiders, Mike Lapointe takes the shot. Bronowski makes the save. He's down flat. Seth Service standing right in front. He's got the top 3/4 of the net, and he puts it over. And then in the same sequence, it comes out to Josh Spanberg, and he rings one off the goalpost. Oh, and then again, Spanberg at the end when Bronowski made the great poke check off of him. Entertaining hockey.
Boy, I guess so. A 5-5 tie hockey game. Been a seesaw battle. Massena actually gave up the first goal, but then took the lead and had St. Francis tie it, I think, 4 times. And that's where we are right now as we get ready to go to overtime.
Unofficially on the shots for the Raiders in that third period, Gary has Massena with 18 shots on goal in that third period.
Whoa.
And St. Francis with 5.
Okay, here we go. As we go to overtime, Brooke Tebow will be defending the goal to our left. And it will be Chuck Bronowski, who's had a great game for St. Francis, defending the goal to our right.
Well, you want to pick a player on each time. Who do you think? Let's say if the Raiders...
Mike Lapointe.
Mike Lapointe.
And for St. Francis, Kevin Golder.
Okay, a couple of good choices.
You agree?
Well, I'll...
Or you want to be different?
I want to be different.
Here comes Buxton. His shot is knocked down, and Massena breaks back. Here's Service with it, with Spanberg. Service, and he goes to Lapointe. Has it knocked away, trying to flip it back. It's knocked by Golder, and he bounces it out to center ice. PJ over skates, has to come back for it. Flips it ahead, knocked away, comes back to PJ. He'll go on the other side to Dion. Dion's headman pass, knocked down by Service. Wright takes it back the other way, and it's poked away from him. Smith dumps to the open wing. Rochford with it, moving it ahead. Feeds to Lapointe, back to Rochford, back to Lapointe. And it goes back down the ice. They got a man breaking. Fatty, Schneider's back there to flip it into the corner. Oh, and Tebow was out of the net. He almost got caught. Bouncing puck comes in the corner, and it's picked up by Schneider. Schneider flips it along the boards, Lapointe, and he's going to ice it. Down the ice it goes, and the whistle will blow, and the face-off will be in the Massena zone. Wow.
Number 6, Nick Fatty, came off the bench, and the Raider did not notice him, and just barely missed catching that pass where he's home free.
Wow.
Well, I'll just so it's someone different. You got a couple of good choices. We'll go with Corey David, and let's see, I'll take Shamaga.
Okay. Face-off in the Massena zone. Converse off the draw, and Tebow sticks it in behind the net. Converse after it there. Wiped away from him. They got a guy in front. Tebow bounces it away. In the corner. Along the boards, they got another guy in front, the backhand. Tebow makes a save and covers it up.
George Christbaum, who has 1 goal in this game, broke down from the point. The St. Francis had the puck in the corner to the right of Brooke Tebow, and Christbaum read that. He was on the right point. He broke right down in the slot area. No one picked him up. The pass on his stick, and he put off a backhander. Did not get a lot on it. Good thing he was on the forehand. Brooke Tebow came out, took away the angle, made a big save.
Fatty will face off again against Converse. Off the draw, comes in on Tebow, and he flipped it in the corner, but the whistle blew immediately.
The Raiders
we'll do it again.
Got to be conscious. Jason Converse can't let that man slide through in that draw. Chris Fatty going to the net. Got to stop him.
Off the draw comes to La Caprucia. His shot is blocked, and down the ice it goes. Racing in after it is Christbaum. He's got Corey David on it. David checks him into the boards and picks up the loose puck. Here's David in front. Tribble. Shot. Save. Rebound. Where is it? It's still on the side of the net. The whistle blows. Oh, my goodness. How did that stay out?
I don't know. I can't describe how that one stayed out. Les Pribble Corey David, just a great job. He went in and obliterated the St. Francis defenseman, and then took the puck and threw it out to Les Pribble, parked right out in the front of Bernowski, and he had the whole left side to look from here, but he just couldn't get enough on it, and somehow Bernowski and company kept it out. Whoa.
So big chances at both ends.
Both ends. Oh, boy. Fans getting their money's worth again.
O'Shea will face off against Golder in the St. Francis zone. Off the draw. O'Shea back to the point. P.J. Rochford flips it to O'Shea. Goes in behind the net. Picked up by Smith. Now O'Shea takes it in the corner. Looks. Skates in the corner. Gets tied up. Flips it free to Courier. Jamie Courier turns it around. Has it knocked away. Bouncing puck. O'Shea digging for it. Wright takes it away. Flips it over on the other side. They get a man breaking again. And they almost got it free. Dion makes a good play to break it up. Puck. Back out to neutral ice. Here's an opportunity for Golder. Quick head man across the blue line to drive in behind the net. Golder, he's got the open net and he scores. And St. Francis wins it 6-5 in overtime.
And number 16, Darren Rayome, and number 18, P.J. Rochford, a little set to after the... Jerry, I'm going to have to let you describe the winning goal, because I'll tell you the truth, I was looking back here at something else, and I didn't see it. And now we have some of the Massena fans not being very smart or very sportsmanlike down here, standing on the glass and yelling at the St. Francis players, but the security people got down there in a hurry.
Well, what happened on the winning goal is St. Francis came across with a puck and fired it and went wide. Brooke Tebow came out to play it. The puck rolled the board around the other side to the other forward who had a wide open net to shoot at. He just poked it in the net.
Exciting, I'll tell you, the last of four outstanding games that the Raiders have at home, and they come out 2-2, and just some exciting hockey here this afternoon. But the St. Francis Red Raiders victorious in OT 6-5 over the Massena Red Raiders.